German sips with a grin so wide. Pogs on the table can't hide his pride. Creator in the corner starts to glare. Madness sparks and hate fills the air. Stack 'em high, a tower of luck. Germans winning, it feels like pluck. Alice Matt's fury, a brewing storm. Visions of pogs in every form. Pogs are spinning, tables turning. Alice Matt's eyes with fierce fire burning. Germans' laughter echoes loud in a world that's pog-bound proud. Matt sees and he's mad insane. Eyes on fire, can't take the strain. Pogs and pieces drive him to pain. His patience snapping like an old chain. And he's mad insane. Eyes on fire, can't take the strain. Pogs and pieces drive him to pain. His patience snapping like an old chain. Du bist nie gewinnen, Entenmann. Du bist nie gewinnen, Entenmann. Alas, my fumes can't take no more. Pogs and slammers hit the floor. It's not about the game you see. It's about what fun could be. Du bist nie gewinnen, Entenmann. Du bist nie gewinnen, Entenmann. Du bist nie gewinnen, Entenmann. Du bist nie gewinnen, Entenmann.
Good evening. Welcome everybody to the stream. Yes, this is yours truly, Matt here. Oh, let me just lower that there, right there. Okay. I got my app open on my phone just to make sure there's no lagging, because we know how the lags are with this stupid Streamlabs. I assume it's Streamlabs. I got my correct microphone here. Hail to the chat. You guys are on fire in the chat. I see my beautiful lady Shadowban earlier. Let me just get her here. She says, driving no more. Hello, so I get home. But I think she says something later on. But yeah, hail to my lovely lady Shadowban. Hating Pogs is pretty much hating Pogs. I know, Guy. I know. That's how you do. That's the way you do things here. But I accept your hate because as you are a member of the band Zone, your words of hate have no power over me. You can't speak ill over me. My good friend, though, however, Henry Beeman says, "What's up, Eliza? Hello." Carl Laming says, "And Jemima." See, he gets it. He gets it because it's the Pog song. The chorus is very clear. Beam, beam, be doo 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 doo. Aunt Jemima. See, he understands now, and he's in the anti-Pog group. So, welcome. I'm glad you see the light. But hail to the chat. I saw some interesting comments here. As a matter of fact, my good friend Massive Panda. I haven't seen you in a minute, man. I have not seen you in a minute. Welcome back. You are definitely welcome here in the chat and these streams, Massive Panda. Welcome. Glad you're having a good one. I think you're having a good one. I don't know if you guys know this, but my hardcover books came in for Pieces and Road Warrior Drake. So I'm just waiting on the paperbacks that should be coming in from the shop. I already sent in the file for the manga version, so I'm waiting for proof of that. But it's coming along nicely, and I should begin fulfilling tomorrow, if not Monday. But I want to get some of the hardcovers out, so I'm going to begin fulfilling very, very shortly. Very shortly. I know Lady Shadow Band, but he's here anyway. That's all that matters. I don't care why he's here. The point is he's here, and he's contributing in a positive manner, with which I can have a safe space because I deserve a safe space. I need a safe space. Our good friend Brian Kriskow's in the chat. What up, Alaz? He says, what up, everybody? By the way, I uploaded my latest video on my channel earlier today. I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll put the link in the chat because it's beneath my mods to share any links except those that with which they will undermine me with. But there's the link to my latest video right there. Go check it out. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe. It's only about 9 minutes, so it's a short video, fairly short by other people's standards. But it's very informative, and I think you'll get a kick out of it, especially with the receipts and everything. Oh no! Look! Oh wait! Oh, look who's here! Look who's here! I'm not gonna show you. I'm not gonna show you a comment until I do your intro. See, Jabby thinks he's being nice. No, I see right through you, Jabby. I see right through you. You're not being nice. I know exactly what's beneath this sinister text here. Because immediately you say that, look who comes in here with the violence. See? Exactly. See? She doesn't care about safe space. She doesn't care about communita, positivita, unita. All she wants is to destroy the yacht in this space. That's all she cares about. That's why she joins Guy in the band zone where they belong. I hope they have Raptor kids in the band zone. Brian Kriska loves the video. Well, hail. Glad you like it. Glad you like it. But we only played one song on our intro. You know how this goes. We can't play just the one song. No. We have to go for a second one. This is like this one here, which is a classic and loved by my chat.
You stole my heart, you intercepted it. Now you're gone, have to accept it. Did I meet your mom too soon? Or did I do what I always do? Yeah, we made it to the 50, and then you kissed me. We made it to the 40, a new love story. We made it to the 30, and you did me dirty right then. You put the end in tight end, and as I touched down, just like you in a game, I'm in another town, and nothing feels the same. Wish I could go back when we met that day. Oh, whoa, and throw a flag on the play.
Always a classic in this space. It is always a classic. What does Carol have to do with you, Jabby? I know about your little super secret DM rooms where you gather to organize and undermine me and to ruin my business. I know. I've heard about it. So don't pretend. Don't act coy. I know you're plotting against me, but you're not going to win, Jabby. You nor Karen nor Guy nor the rest of you little crony. You're not going to win because I am strong. I'm growing in this space. I have influence now, so you can't hurt me. I don't care what anybody says or anybody does or what you plan or what you think of me. I'm going to win. I'm always going to win. You know that, right? I'm always going to win. Yeah, don't put you and Jabby in the same category. It's done. Done. You're both in the ban zone, along with Guy. So there you go. I know who my enemies are, and your attempts to undermine me and destroy what I'm building, because I'm a culture warrior. I'm a leader in the culture war. It's true. It's true. Even though I only have 14 people watching, I'm still a leader and have influence. I'm good. I am, Carol. I absolutely am. It's going to happen. You watch. And they're going to make a movie about me, and you're going to take a kids to see it, and you're going to say, I used to harass that guy, but he overcame me and became a victor. And now I'm here to kids because he's an inspiration to me and the rest of this community. It's going to happen, Carol. Watch. It's definitely going to happen. And Ryan Gosling's going to play me, and I'm going to be a hit. So remember this moment now, because this is the moment you truly lost, and I've truly won. Oh, Dirty Fatty, you have a mole in your group. That's why. You have a mole, and he's loyal to me. So, sorry, but I uncovered it. Oh, no. Here he is. Here's the mole, right? Oh, this ain't the mole. Or is he the mole? He's getting activated when he gets to heroes. Oh, wait. What does that mean? Shh. Don't say that out loud. I mean, that's not true. Last AP Brown. It's not true. It's not true. I disavow. I disavow. You need aha, aha. Oh, I'm so glad I made you laugh. I'm so glad, Carol. So glad. I am not paranoid, Guy. I'm not paranoid. I am not paranoid. I'm being honest. No, as a matter of fact, I will not, Jabby. I will not. I encourage you to bark. Just for you now, I'm going to encourage you to bark. So I suppose you are here to watch a stream tonight about our topic, our subject, Dori Seda, who we talked a little bit about in our stream last week on the comics anthology when we talked about the list of comics anthology / magazines that were part of the significant independent comics movement. Go check that stream out because that's one of my best live streams in the series I've ever done. And I'm gonna be trying. I'm gonna try to do more streams like that where like it's a bit more focused, a bit more orderly. You know, I start gathering stuff and then type up my own things to say and keep it in a way where it's like so focused and has more replay value where you can watch it on replay and learn something and be entertained. Because I care about entertainment. I don't care what you people say. I am entertaining, very much so. No, not band circle, Guy. Band zone. You're in the band zone. That's where you're all at. Is big leave even a word? I don't think it's a word. I really don't think so. So, but anyway. Try and do an entertaining stream. I don't have to try. I'm very entertaining. I'm very entertaining. I don't know why you think you can come here and undermine me and tell me that I'm not doing what I said I'm doing, even though I'm doing it and the receipts are there. Like the proof is there. I'm doing it. I'm absolutely doing it. I'm totally doing it. Just like I am going to be doing our subject. Well, actually, let me reword that because you people with your with the gay opery going to try something. So let me fix what I was going to say. Our topic of discussion for today is Dori, as we said, Dori Seda, who we learned a little bit about in last week's stream when we talked in the section about the women's magazines, which were the answer to the male-dominated magazines. And make no mistake, comics are a male-dominated space. Doesn't matter how many women come into the space. It will always be a male-dominated space. And Dori Seda, to her credit, understood that. Let me get rid of the graphics for a second, just so it doesn't cover the artwork that we're going to show. There we go. Let me close this out. I'm going to delete some of the overlays in my StreamYard here. If you have not subbed or hit the like button, please hit the like button. It's the thing to do. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a thing to do. So please hit the like button. Let's see here. I guess I gotta read this. Concept. Did they vote? Why did they vote a cardinal for Pope when it? You know, I'm not reading that. You're gonna get my stream struck. I'm not gonna read that, Colin. You know, Colin's the only one in the safe space that is taking such. Well, he's not the only one, but he seems to be spearheading the charge to gleefully put racist memes in the Discord for the safe space. But all I wanted was to build a community of people that are loving comics and being friendly and buying each other coffee and all that stuff. And he wants to disrupt it by posting memes of D words and B citizens in such a derogatory manner. It's not right. It's not good. So the bitch is Dori Seda. She's one of the few prominent female comic creators during the underground comics movement. And unfortunately, she is also a tragic tale. But because her name was brought up during our last stream with the indie comic magazines, and she did have a significant role in the movement, it was important, I thought, to cover her because her artwork does fit the theme of the stream. She did have a significant influence in her circle, and you know, to me, there's an important lesson. And I don't just cover artists that I like or admire or artists that are of good repute. You know, we also cover artists that have made a significance, whether we may agree with them politically or not, and have had some kind of influence, like in Dori Seda's case, but she's also a tragic tale, but also a model for other female creators. And as you guys know, our space has been infiltrated by females entering and doing unscrupulous things, some of which I've covered in my documentary When the Culture War Hit Those Pretty Pictures. And I think a lesson needs to be learned if you're a woman coming into this space, how to conduct yourself and how to really achieve success without using sex to achieve your means. Now, I'm not saying Dori Seda was a saint, unfortunately, as we'll go into, but when she tried to get her way into the comic sphere, she was cunning, but she also respected the space she was in. And she got people like Art Crumb on her side because of that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I see Niobe Comics in the chat. He says, where is he? He says, word. Says Niobe. Welcome, Niobe. Welcome to the chat here. Let's look at okay, so this is Dori Seda. This is a picture of her. And this is one of her pieces right here. And I think this is taken from a collection of her works, this piece here. But yeah, you could see this picture pretty much encapsulates Dori Seda as a whole. An artist, but also a free spirit. And I use that term kind of loosely because free spirit to me can also mean someone that just wants to jump into the car and go cross country and enjoy the landscape or enjoy the country or just enjoy the air. Unfortunately, in her case, free spirited means she was into all kinds of degeneracy. So we're going to be, because the reason that's also important is because some of it, not all of it, but some of it is reflected in her works. This is one of her pieces. This is called Eat My Brains. And this was in Weirdo number 22. So again, go back to my last stream last week on the comics anthology regarding our dissertation on the comics magazines of the independent movements. And Weirdo was Art Crumb's magazine from the 80s, which admittedly, whether you agree with it or not, championed or promoted what was considered to be lowbrow art. Not to say that the artwork in it was bad, but that's how they advertised it, as because Arcade, which was the magazine that Spiegelman was doing, showcased highbrow or high tier art. So Crumb wanted to be edgy and promoted what he called lowbrow art. So this is in Weirdo number 22. And we'll discuss later that Seda had her works first appeared in Weirdo number 4. So Naiba says, I got a call from Heavy Metal today. They asked me to change my thumbnail on the video I did on them. They said they want to use it in their socials, but the thumbnail was AI and they didn't like that. So it's funny because I know the thing is to use AI for thumbnails. I hate the AI on thumbnails because it just looks so flat tonally. Like I'd rather use artwork like this, and I did like when I do my indie comic Outliers, I like to use their artwork in the thumbnails just because it just stands out, but it's reflective of what they're doing or what they've done. It's the topic of our stream, and it just looks better. It just looks much better than AI thumbnails. And I'm not anti-AI. I'm not. Like honestly, like AI is here to stay, but if you're going to use AI as your main way of publishing art, whatever, or it becomes the substitute for art, that I have a problem with. And I don't have a problem with AI being a marketing tool, but not used in place of your art. And personally, I don't think AI in thumbnails look good. I don't. I'd rather just use naturally produced images for AI. I mean, for thumbnails. For thumbnails. So, but yeah, I'm glad you sorted out with them amicably. That's pretty cool. So, that's good. She got involved with art club. No, not in that way. Not in that way. So I'm gonna get to the story of how she got into Weirdo in a sec. So as far as we know, anyway, let's be honest. As far as we know, there's probably stuff that happened behind the scenes we don't know. But no, as far as we know, we don't know of any things that happened between her and Crumb. Let's put it like that. I mean, Crumb's wife also was active with Crumb during this time, so I don't think Crumb had any opportunity to mess around because his wife was pretty active around there. So I don't think there was any way. So Okay, Colin, this is not acceptable. Stop it. Stop it. It's not acceptable. It really isn't. So Seda had her start artistically after she graduated college. She got into painting and ceramics. I think her father was a painter, so that was in the family. But she was doing ceramics, and then she didn't start getting into comics until 1979. And she tried to get into the publishing side of it with a publishing company called Last Gap. During that time, she was a janitor. And by the way, to all you indie comic creators in our space that are looking for that quick buck, looking to jumping into making tens of millions of dollars on your first book, trying to get into those big channels so they can promote you, thinking you're going to get that audience and that you're going to make buck and you're going to be able to pay your house or whatever. I hate to break it to you, but no, it doesn't work that way. You're going to have to work a regular job as you're struggling and putting your books out there or putting your first published work out there. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not saying that you won't big bank and eventually make that your career. All I'm saying is it doesn't hurt to have an actual job, learn a skill at least while you're doing your comics, because it may or may not work out in the long run for you, but at least you're taking care of yourself and paying your way into life and being of service to your community. So be humble, absolutely be humble. But after a while, Seda eventually moved up in the ranks and actually became a bookkeeper for Last Gap. So she at least got a job starting in the industry. Well, not starting industry, but she got a job in the industry in a starting position. So she did get her foot in the door. And as far as we know, now again, we don't know what really happened behind the scenes. We don't know. We can only go by what's actually recorded and what her peers have said about her. But what we do know is she didn't use sex to get ahead in the comic industry. And by industry, I mean the independent market. This is one of her strips called the Do Nothing Decade. This was actually done a year before she passed away. But yeah, no, she did hustle. And I'm going to get into how she got into R. Crumb's sphere. But she didn't blackmail anybody. That's right. By the way, mods, please, can somebody please handle Jabba? Handle him. Acquiesce him. He's asking for a request. I want his request fulfilled. Please. We do we want the chat to feel like they can have their needs met. So please have him met with his request. See, after this, we don't see again. He smells of peanut butter. Yes, of course. No, I have respect, Jabba. I'm influential. I'm very influential. That's why you're in the sphere, in the band zone with Guy here, where you both belong. So, but yeah, this is done during her one of her last years. And I think Massive Panda in chat, he says he likes the line work. Line work's pretty good. And puke. I'm not a fan of drunk puke in comics. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but yeah, the thing with her is she has been one of the things that has been said about her work is there is a lot of degeneracy in her strips. You could say that, so there's a lot of it. And we're gonna get into one piece in particular that I saw that I was like, yeah, this is gonna get people talking. So, and I'm being careful with what I can show. But when we're dealing with someone like her, she drew a lot of insane shit. Okay, and she had to disavow some of it because people thought that her stuff was autobiographical because of her lifestyle. So she had to come out and say, no, I didn't do a lot of what's in the comics. Some of it, a lot of it is just entertainment. But she did invite that. So speaking of which, I got a super chat from Jabby. Is that £2? Yeah, it's £2, right? It's not €2, right? It's £2. I think it's £2, not €2. He says, Road Warrior Cardinal, Bishop of Rome, from Jabba the Cook. And you're using my docs. So you know what's sad is that you dox my face, right? And you use it as your profile pic. And then you pay me to read this insidious message. This is not right. Not right. Colin says a lot of degeneracy along with a gross derivative style. All these indie artists are ironically the same. Well, they fed off each other. A lot of them did. A lot of them fed off each other. And some of this artwork does look reminiscent of Garbage Pail Kids, which we talked about a few months ago. So for better or for worse, this was influential in a lot of circles. And there was definitely, you could see an influence in Art Crumb's style in Seda's work. But there was also a divide in the indie comic circle because as Art Crumb, who published her work in Weirdo #4, was a fan of hers, Peter Baggy, who we talked about a few months ago, did not like her work and actually rejected her work. So there was a divide on, Seda's work being acceptable or not. So let's see, people in the chat are good. Okay. I would say it's mostly copying Crumb style, though. I mean, that's fair. You could say that. You could definitely say that. There are some deviations here or there. Like this piece for here. This is definitely more in line with her own unique style. And I'm not saying this is good or not. Like, I'm only showing this, again, because if you go back to what I said about the reason behind these indie comic outlier streams, it's to show that you don't got to draw a certain way to make it big in the comics. There's a lot that goes into your artwork, into your storytelling, and how you tell it that can get people to look at you and say, hey, this is pretty good. Let me look at it. Not every comic that was successful on across all boards by a lot of people. But I would go into Jeff Smith stuff like I did with Bone. Conversely, I would do Dori Seda because, again, her style would be too simplistic or in some cases too gross, as the chat would say. But it was successful enough to get people talking about her and to get her some kind of successful life and some recognition before she passed away. This piece was called, what was this piece called? Let me see. It was called The Artist Meets a Swinger or Crab Eating Raoul. So Crab Eating Raoul was a strip she did. And we're going to, at some point, I'm going to say, hey, viewer discretion is advised. Yes, viewer discretion is advised. But she was one of the artists that was prominent during the small era of women's comics anthology magazines, including Women's Comics, which I covered in the last stream. Henry Beeman says this was the era that pioneered the self-deprecating confessional style of cartooning. Yeah, this is this is during the alternative movement, and it's funny because she was a fan of the underground movement, but she became a part of the alternative comics movement, which showed this kind of stuff, this kind of like weirdo punk style degeneracy, more so than the underground comics movement did. I think it's because during the 80s with Reagan and all that stuff, there was more of a freer mentality for artwork, art style. If you look at today, like with Hollywood today, for example, or even the comics of today, there's a lot more self-censorship than we care to admit. A lot of it is DEI, a lot of it is ESG, a lot of it is quote unquote being, what's the word? Being inclusive. So there isn't that much artistic freedom in the space, or when I say space, I mean the film industry or even the comic industry, like there was in the 80s. And I can tell you this, like even in our space here, there seems to be an attempt to suppress experimentation in artwork and writing because people are going to say, oh, this is shit or this is not good. So there is that. So we do face that. Can't find anything degenerate, and I Googled it. Well, degenerate is, I guess, up for interpretation or up for what you decided degenerate. Well, actually, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something right now. Okay. Yeah, everybody writes what they like, Colin. Everybody draws and writes what they write. Me, for example, I don't like drawing degenerate stuff, but some of my stuff can be, I guess, construed as degenerate in some cases, but it's not, I don't think it's degenerate. I don't get that extreme. And I understand that for me to have any kind of viable, lasting impression in this community, that I want to try to keep my books as open to the general as possible, to the general public. So I don't want to really isolate based on age, but At the same time, I tell people, well, I mean, my books are good for 10 years and older, or even 12 years and older, I would say. So I don't think you're a prude. I just think you're doing what you want to do, and I think it works for you, and I think more people will have access to your stuff because of it. So you could look at this as what not to do, because it all ties in. Her art style, her oh wait, hold on, wait, I got okay, okay. This is the part where I got to say this. So and I'm showing this for a reason. So this content, here's a disclaimer: this content contains images not suitable for young kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Be forewarned. And I saw this and I said, okay, you know what? This has to be so this is part of the same comic strip she did, Crabs for Marul, the artist, whatever. So, and I'm gonna just go on the bottom two panels, but this strip featured a the female character doing something pretty degenerate with a dog. Not explicitly graphic, but yeah, it happened, and I'm like, wait a minute, wait, are you kidding me? Wait a minute. Massive Panda says, agree to last map. The last decade and a half, roughly, has been an embarrassingly lame zeitgeist. A lot of the recent social commentary indie comics that got a lot of spotlight won't age well. Yeah, a lot of it is very contemporary, and it's just like reactionary to the mainstream. So when the mainstream shit dies down and ultimately ages itself out of the zeitgeist, as we say, so will the reactionary stuff. That's all going to disappear together. So it's one thing to be reactionary to a general culture or a counterculture, but when you get very specific and it just becomes like disposable, then it won't age well and it'll just disappear, and so will you. But yeah, this strip had her in the shower with a dog, and yeah, and this got her in trouble. This actually got her in trouble, and she had to come out and say, "No, I don't condone bestiality." But yeah, it's a white chick and a dog. It happened, and there's something about. I'm gonna let y'all figure this. I'm gonna let y'all. Was this chick? I know. Here we go. Was this chick the CG? I don't know. Like, it's a thing. Apparently, Henry, it's a thing. Like, white girls and dogs. I guess it's a thing. It's more of a thing than we realized. So, well, Arkham would draw something like this. I don't know. I don't know. Wait. Okay. Arkham would draw something like this. I don't know if I would assume he actually did it though. Right. Some people. I mean, this is back then when you didn't really have access to a person's entire life like we do in social media today. You know, you only knew what was written up in magazines, and if not much was written up, then well, you don't know about that person's lifestyle. But there was enough for her, of her that was put out there for us to know that there could have been a possibility that she was into this weirdo stuff, but she says she wasn't. So Plungecast says underground comics was the punk music of the comic industry. Actually, some people would argue, Plungecast, that the alternative comics movement of the 80s was the punk music of that. I think the underground comics of the 60s was more like a soft core reaction to the underground, to the mainstream. And the alternative comics of the 80s was the punk. But that's just me, though. Like, to me, they seem interchangeable, but there seems to be that distinction. And a lot of people that study this seem to hold to that distinction that, yeah, the 80s underground alternative comics movement was more of the punk style. And it did emphasize more storytelling than the 60s did. That I think, if you look at both styles of comics, the 80s alternative comics movement did emphasize more story. More violence, but more story, I think. Scroll down more. Okay. She was a white woman after all. Yes. I had to avoid the top panel. I mean, look, it's not as graphic, but still, like, I don't want to show it. Maybe I'm a prude. I think I'm a Colin. I think I'm a prude. Like, I'll show some things, but there's some things I don't want to show. So I'm gonna just like try to not get too wrapped up in this. But again, I'm just showing it for documentation purposes. This book right here. Okay, so this is a book called Lonely Nights, Stories to Read When the Couple Next Door is Effing Too Loud by Dori Seda. So this was her first and only comic book, her full-length book that she published prior to her passing. And this comic, I guess you could say was the comic book equivalent of a video nasty because it was banned in the UK when it came out. It was banned. So, but yeah, this was her first real big break, her first real big comic book until her untimely passing. But when she tried to break into Weirdo magazine, issue number 4, what she did was she submitted her work to R. Crumb, and she did it under a pseudonym. She chose the name David Seda. So Crumb, believing that Dori was a man, published her work. And yeah, that's how she got into Weirdo. It was Weirdo number 2, not number 4. It was number 2. But that led to her being featured in Women's Comics magazine. Again, check out last week's stream for that, where we did that awesome breakdown of the comics anthologies. But yeah, she didn't sleep with anybody in the publishing staff of Weirdo, as far as we know. She didn't blackmail anybody. She didn't exchange. Well, I think it's hard to exchange nudes at the time, unless in a Polaroid. But that's weird. But yeah, she found her success there, and her lifestyle was every bit a part of her as her comics work was. You know, she was into the heavy party lifestyle of drinking, sex, and yeah, some of it, as I said, some of it did seep into her comics. But I think she, while she stated, she did exaggerate a lot of it for her comics. For as what most comic artists do, they'll exaggerate elements of their life or perspectives in the pages of a strip. Why was this banned as gay? Aren't the Euros supposed to be all pro nudity? That's a good question, but this was 1987. This was a comic book, so I guess it was all about how they viewed a comic. And comics, I guess, was considered something for kids. So, therefore, in 1980, was it 87 that came out? I think it was 87, right? I believe it was 86. Okay, it was 1986. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I guess it was so degenerate that they banned it. And it's available online, for purchase, so people could buy it and then they can see it for themselves, like how degenerate it was. I wonder if it's still banned. I don't think it is. But that was the thing at the time. It was just too raunchy for the UK. Her life was probably prudish compared to just the average Hollywood A-lister today. I would say so, and the reason why I say that is because a lot of the A-listers who aren't alive have been shown to have really degenerate choices in life, and I'm talking like Epstein choices. I'll leave that part alone, but I think those that have died didn't handle it well. They couldn't handle it well, and they just, their lives just ended because they never got too degenerate. It just got to a point where they couldn't handle it. And those that are alive, that are in degeneracy, were able to handle it and are in such extreme levels. And now we're kind of deviating a bit, but in such extreme levels of degeneracy. I wonder if these artists as Massive Panda were genuinely all about this type of stuff, or they were just doing as much hardcore shock value because of repressed emotions in more prudish times. Well, not every, as you know, Massive Panda, because you're a regular in these streams, but not every comic artist during this time was doing shock value stuff. They were doing their own stories. They were doing their own, their own style of artwork, their own characters, and there was a lot of variety in the underground comics scene, in the alternative comic scene. There was a lot of variety. So, therefore, you have something like Dori Seda, where a lot of people are talking about it, but not because of not so much the merit of the artwork as much as it was just shocking. Like with this previous one here, with the chick in the shower, or this right here. But then she does things like this, like the Do Nothing Decade, where it was a bit more socially aware. This was, I think this was published in, was it Weirdo that was published? I'm not sure if it was Weirdo, but But people have said about Dori that during her later years, she was showing signs of maturity in her artwork and storytelling. So there was a point where she looked like she was probably going to break out of her destructive party style, and we'll never know. So okay, I'm gonna hide this. You know what? You hated me when I did with the quack shows. You hated the quack shows. These streams are more relevant, more important, and significant. Jabby. Of course, the only one quack show that was actually good was on my channel. How about that, Jabby? The one quack show that we did on my channel was actually voted the best one. Maybe because I know how to stream. Jabby. Maybe because I know how to stream. So there. So in 1988 is when Seda passed away. She had emphysema and silicosis, which is black lung disease. And she apparently it got worse when she would do ceramics and didn't wear a face mask. So when she did her partying lifestyle, it just eroded years of her life. And she was 37 when she had passed away. So definitely a tragic cautionary tale for a lot of indie comic artists who get wrapped up in the freedom to do things, even though you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. But her work and her merit are judged accordingly. And I feel like this was a good one to showcase because of last week's stream. And also because of recent events in our space with female influencers, whether they want to be comic creators or not, or comic promoters coming in with their level of degeneracy. Or, if you want to take it outside the comic space with the gaming industry, where a lot of female gaming journalists using sex to get ahead and manipulating gaming reviews, which is how Gamergate started. But then you go backwards to something like the comic scene, the independent comic scene, and you see female creators like Dori Seda, and the worst thing they did was onto themselves. They weren't Me Tooing their male counterparts. They were just creating, but unfortunately also making bad life choices, and the lives get cut short. One piece that I saw that really stood out for me that I actually didn't like, and I was glad to see it, was this one here, The Pig People, from 1987. And it reminded me of something that Howard Finster would do. If you guys remember Howard Finster, we talked about him in one of the first few indie comic outlier streams that I did. He used to do artwork like this, where he would marry the image and the art and the words together. Or in some cases, there would be an actual outline of something, and the artwork would be inside that outline. And this definitely had Howard Finster vibes to it when I saw it. So there was definitely, and this was from 87. So in the last couple of years of her life, you could see that there was definitely evidence of her trying to be mature and doing something of some kind of social relevance. Unlike this guy here who wants to troll me and harass me and wants to undermine my importance. I'm important, Jabby. I'm very important. I'm significant. So you can't undermine what I do. You absolutely will not. But my good friend Hen is here. Hello, Hen. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. I wonder if you've heard of her, Dori Seda, Hen, since you're in the UK. Because I'm asking for people that are in the UK in my chat if any of her stuff outside of her one comic book was banned in the UK. But yeah, when I saw that picture of the dog in the shower, I was like, oh crap. Holy crap. It's a thing. it's definitely a thing. Oh boy. So but outside of Dori Seda, I maybe I'll do Arkrim's wife, because she did have her own stamp in the industry in the space, but not many women independent comic artists in this era were influential. So, but yeah, that was that's as much as I could find on Dori Seda, and I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to be one of my normal shorter streams because of which is fine because I think it's better to have a shorter stream and enough content for replay value, and then going to a full 2 hour stream with stretching crap. So that's where we're at this. Let me go ahead and play an intro while I finish my drink, and then we'll see where we go with this. On a roll. So Guy, this is why you are relegated to the ban zone, because I'm to be celebrated and respected and revered. I'm to be cherished because I am a leading. Damn it, son. I'm a leading pop voice in this community, and I'm fighting the culture war. Okay, so yeah, it is unfortunate that Dori's gone, but guess what? I'm allowed to stay because I'm chosen to stay. Why, God? Because God loves me, Guy. God loves me. Whether you care about it or not, He loves me. But then I don't see why typing this is helpful to you. Why is it helpful to us? Why is it helpful to the rest of us, Guy, when we're trying to stand together, united as a community against something? And you're typing this for whatever reason. You felt the need to type that. But my good friend Colin says Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima. The German song for Pogs, Aunt Jemima. Spider Beaties says Massive Panda. Why is that? Oh, I see. Never mind. I got it. Okay. Yeah, Spider Beaties. I totally agree. So let's see. This is Bollocks. We've had loads of adult comics. Well, that's funny because like when I read that this was banned, I'm like, that's kind of weird that this was banned in the UK in '86, but then maybe it's just a testament of how weird her stuff really was. Because it did get very degenerate, and I only showed a tip of it here because I don't want my stream to get struck, and also I'm being cognizant of my audience because there are a lot of people here that don't want to see some of that. But again, I'm doing this as part of a retrospective of the indie scene as a whole before us and the things that they would or wouldn't get away with. So consider me some kind of historian. I don't know. I think I'm a historian. I know I'm a historian, and I'm not a DEI hire either. I'm a legit organic historian. I think I did good. So, Colin, have you even had some of that? I have. Well, I think I have. I've had some of those ingredients, and it's good. It's very good. Listen, I see that, and you could tell that there's love and care made into that whatever that thing was, and it tastes. I'm sure it tasted good. I'm sure that those people that ate it were thankful that a girl in a Spider-Girl suit made something delicious. You know what? That's more bang for your buck in New York City. I'm assuming that's New York City. Maybe it's not New York. I don't know. It looks like it's New York City. For the sake of the conversation, I'm going to call it New York City because I will. Oh, I have a cup of coffee here. Let me just have a sip of it. You're welcome. My lady shut up and made me a cup of coffee. And yeah, she's doing her own version of the Spider-Girl thing for me, and it's awesome. I think it's better than the Spider-Girl thing. So
definitely better.
Oh, yes.
Because you actually have a chance with me.
Oh, yes. They said that's the thing, too. So I think I scored. So, yeah. Sorry, I just got distracted for a second. But yeah, getting back to the chat here. But yeah, I'm sure that whatever she made was good. I'd like to try that one day when I go back to New York City for something. Oh, KSS, the Emperor of the Slums. Welcome. Where have you been? Obviously, you weren't anywhere important because I reign supreme on Thursdays. Thursdays is my slot. You should know this.
No, Henry, he is not.
Wait, what?
Get him.
Wait, what now?
Sick him.
I don't know. I'm trying to be KSS.
You Baron KSSS.
KSS is the emperor of the slums. I have to answer his chat first. He says, the pig people, what the hell is it with the pig men and pig women? Stop the madness. You know what? I treat you with some reverence. Some reverence. The least you could do is return the reverence back, KSS. I'm an influence now. I have influence now. So why would you say this to me when I've been nothing but respectful and kind to you in this community? Not necessary.
Answer for your crimes.
Why? Because I'm a colored?
KSSS and Henry.
Because I'm a colored?
No. Because you didn't give me spotting.
But hold on. I'm behind the chat. Hold on. Okay. Let me scroll down a little bit. That can't be New York. I think it's New York. Maybe not, but I don't know of any other place where that would happen. So let's see here. Scroll down more. Maybe. Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right. I forgot. Margaret Thatcher was the prime minister there, so she was a bit of a prude, from what I understand. I think it's why Reagan loved her so much. Not that Reagan's a prude, but her and Reagan did get along, so that might be it. So that's a good point. See, I like this history lesson. I like learning stuff like this because it really adds to the conversation. So I totally forgot about Thatcher. Some people say that Thatcher was based. I don't know. You guys think that Margaret Thatcher is based? Let me hear in the comment section. Those of you in the UK or close by, did you guys think Margaret Thatcher was based? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I can see it. I'm taking her to Heroes Con. She's going to be exposed to a lot of celebrities. KSS. I'm giving her first-hand view of our celebritas in this community. She's going to be treated like a celebrity. So there were censorship movements in the 80s in the UK. Yeah, one of those was the Video Nasties. I had a book about that, but the Video Nasties. It was an interesting read because some of those movies weren't even that bad. Some were, some weren't, but it was a fascinating time for UK censorship and the stuff that became famous or notoriously infamous because of the censorship. Okay, I am behind in the chat, which is good because I get to scroll down some. So let's see. Scroll down more. Scroll down more. Manicore's here with racism. Thank you for that. No, not. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. I don't have to answer you, you jerk. Well, then don't answer me. How about that? Don't answer me. And these Manticore keeps racism limited to images. So that can mean so many things, but I know what it means because he's a hateful bastard. But you want to put it in words and really divide the community just when we're doing so well. So flipping well. So flipping well. So let's see. Scroll down more. Henry B. Henry B. I'm not typing. I'm not reading this. Janet Rito. Okay, Colin says, I have no ball in this court, but if Thatcher was in America, she would have been based. I don't know about the UK, though. Okay, so it kind of says that she would have been considered based here in the United States. Guy says, Thatcher was best buds with Jimmy Savile and other pedos. Oh, that's not good. Thatcher ruined the country. Okay, so Hen is in the UK. She says that Thatcher ruined the country. Okay, interesting. Margaret Thatcher better than Lazarus. Well, then go there, Manicore. Go there. And stream with Thatcher. Do that. Be that way. Taking her to meet celebrities like who? The guy who played Wyatt in the movie Weird Science? Or internet celebrities like well-read comics? Well, damn it, Cass. Damn it. You didn't have to word it like that. Holy fuck. Wow. Jeez. You know what? It's funny because I was thinking more like Phil Diaz and Narwhal, who's Per Berg, who's a real celebrity, but damn, you narrowed it down to well read. Holy hell, KSS. Way to fucking take a sword and cut my head off with it. Holy crap. Damn. Oof. I gotta drink some liquor for that one. Hold on. I can't believe. Oh, shit. Wow. Way to rethink my life choices now with that one, huh? Ooh. Yikes. Angela says, evening. Welcome, Angela. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. You say Seville wrong. Well, I don't care how I say it because it makes you react. So that's good. I win, Jobby. I win. Guy says, there was a UK politician accused of pedo stuff. Thatcher gave him a promotion after the accusations. Was it? I'm not saying it was, but was it ever proven that he was into some stuff like that? I'm not saying he wasn't, because a lot of these leaders and so forth apparently are with Epstein and all that crap. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he was, but I don't know if it was ever put out there. Anyway, way to bring the stream down. But let me scroll down more to the chat, which is currently on fire. Hail to the chat. Let's see. Saville, is that Saville? What? Saville? I don't care. I'm an American. I'm gonna say it wrong, so that's my burden. Cass says, I told Norwell and Phil Diaz to be nice to Lee, shut up, man, but to say, why don't you take her to a nice spa, you jerk? You know what? I don't go to Heroes Con, and I deprive my fans and customers of my appearance there and my physical racing of the Comic Con floor. How about I do that? I think I will do that. Right? Is that a pic of Tanya with a tooth gap? Says Angela Curry. You know, Andrew, it's funny you say that. Getting back to Dori Seda, because there was a short documentary that was done about gap tooth women, and Dori was actually in that. Let me see, what was it called? I'm gonna see if I can find that clip. It was called let's see here. Let me find it. Yeah, no, it's called Gap Tooth Women. Okay, let me look for it on YouTube, and I'll play like a few seconds of it if it's available on YouTube. But Dori was in that. Let's see. Les Blanc. Hold on. I just saw a thumbnail for a video featuring a giant turtle. I'm gonna watch that for later. Here you go. Gap Tooth Women, 1987. And is this it? I think that's it. Let me see. Let me let it play if I put my mouse over. Yeah, this is it. Okay, hold on. Let me open it up. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the documentary. Let me stop share screen for a second. And let's see. Gap Tooth Women from 1987. There we go. Let me go open it. Let me do a theater. Mini, which is bigger? Mini. Oh, theater mode. Hopefully my no, that's not it. Here we go. Hopefully my internet of the pores won't make it too choppy. Let me remove the comment here for a second. Okay. Let me scroll down to the chat. Make sure I have caught up and not missed anything important. Besides Manticore saying some derogatory things about the shape of my head. Leave me alone, Manticore. Just leave me alone. So, this is the documentary, short, Gap Tooth Women. It's only 3 minutes long, it says, according to this. So it's real short.
When I was little, I had 3 younger brothers that I would babysit.
Gap Tooth Women, folks. Here you go.
When my parents
I'm
were
going
away,
to
if we'd sneak back in the
commentary so that we can say fair use.
Candy bar or
But,
any other forbidden
this is
cookies
weird.
or cakes or whatever.
This
my
is really
parents
weird.
Always
Okay.
knew.
Well, there you go, folks.
And
It's a
all
thing.
knowing until I caught on.
It looks
that
like
they were
I am let me go and do the default view. Okay. That way it's not too choppy. So here we go. Okay, let's try it again now. Let's see if this works.
recognizing my signature, which was my teeth mark.
I'm checking it out on my app
food,
here. So it looks like it's okay, I think. So actually let me bring up the okay, let's try now. Yeah, it's gonna be a little choppy. My internet of the pores is making it choppy. So let me stop sharing and reshare. Or let me shut down the let me shut this down. Hold on. I'm gonna shut down a few windows. Go ahead and bookmark some of this here. So let me bookmark while I'm doing that. You guys feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. Bookmark this. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. Now let's go ahead and share screen again. Let's see if that works. Okay. And I'm going to, wrong screen. I meant to share this one. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Nope, it's not. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna just download this. Let me go and download this. And I think if I play it from the media player, it might be better. I think I'm gonna try the media player. So let's do that. Here we go. Downloading right now. This is the first, folks. Folks, I'm showing us a documentary on gap-toothed women because F you, why not? And I'm going to. What the F am I doing? What is this, last May? Stop calling me that. You know, I'm not going to answer your question if you call me that. Stop calling me that. I disavow. Don't call me that. You son of a bitch. But this is 3 minutes of a short documentary that features Dori Seda. So we're going to just look at it. Because Angela mentioned the gap in Dori Seda's teeth. So, can you watch Transformers Generation 1? I don't want to get struck. But yeah, I would say yeah. Actually, I leave Transformers running in the background when I do my drawings. Especially season 3, because season 3 has a lot of inconsistencies in the art. But when season 3 was good, it was great. But when it was bad, it was awful. It was really bad. But yeah, I left it playing in the background when I was doing my Road Warrior drink books, because it also challenged me. It also really ignited the spirit to draw. So that's why. Okay, let me try this now. So now I'm going to try sharing it from the Windows Media Player. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Actually, I'm going to fast forward a little bit because we saw it. Okay. So, watching it from the app. No, it's still choppy. It's still choppy. And I damn it, Talk Studio. Damn it. Okay, so I'm just gonna just like forward a little bit. So, but yeah, these are gap-toothed women. Judging by her, I'm guessing she's Irish. I'm gonna guess she's Irish. She has a little bit of ginger in her hair, so I'm gonna guess she might be Irish. This is not Dori Seda. This is some other chick in the documentary, but yeah, I'm gonna guess that she's Irish. So I don't know where she is, Angel. It's 33 minutes. I figured we could watch all 3 minutes of it, but she's in there somewhere. I know that's not her, Guy. I know that's not her. I'm just saying this chick could be Irish. That's totally not her, of course. Let's go. Let me forward a little more. Flower Films presents Gap-Toothed Women. So let's see. Scroll back. There's some dark chick there. Some flowers. Some chick there. So that's probably not her. I don't think that's her. No, that's yeah, that's not her. That's not her. That's not her, not her, not her. Definitely not her, no. No. I don't think that's her. Yeah, I don't think that's her. So let's see. Oh, you know what? Yeah, this is only the first 3 minutes of it. So, why did they only show a clip of it? There's definitely more to this. So that's not it. That is not it. That's only 3 minutes of the actual movie. It's a trailer. That's why. Okay. So yeah, I guess this is gonna be. You're gonna have to just trust me, bro. That's all I can tell you. Just trust me, bro. It's she's in the movie somewhere, and you'll have to take my word for it. Maybe if I do a Google search, I can find her in the documentary. Let me do that right now. Let me see if I click Google Dori Seda. Let's see if I can find her there. I'm guessing this is a picture from the doc, but no, that's not her. Look, just take my word for it. I'm not gonna go through it. It's a thing. That's actually, that chick is actually Lauren Hutton that you see right there. Lauren Hutton was actually one of that looked pretty good at well into her 50s. So, but yeah, she was in the documentary. Go ahead, look for it. There's LC, my producer. He said, "Yo, Andrew, you must say hi to LC. He's the producer of me." So it is not it was not a waste. We tried, okay? We tried and it didn't work out, but you know what? You still had a chance to speak your mind. You spoke your voice, you said your truth, and you used it to speak violence and negativity. So this is why people will know. This is why they'll know that you're in the ban zone. See, this is good. I'm glad I did it, Jabby. I'm glad I did that. I'm glad that you feel that way because you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn, Jabby. My revenge is complete because Jabba's will to live is done. So that means he'll never harass me anymore. And I'm glad about that. LC's damn last man. That's a lot to drain. I feel accomplished, LC. I take pride in that. I will accept that as an accomplishment and a victory. I feel pride with that. So that will be on my gravestone. I drained Jabby's will to live. Please, when you eulogize me, put that on my headstone. I want people to know that on this day, I drained Jabby's will to live. You know how much of his will. You know how much of his will I drained? I lost 4 viewers. That means Jabby dipped out and he equaled 4 viewers. That's how much of a win this is for me. So yes.
I'm cremating you and mailing your ashes to Jabba.
So anyway, let me see. Scroll down more. Wait. KS says Elasma taking a moratorium on Comic Talk on his Comic Talk stream. I don't know what that means, but I allow it because you're the emperor of the slums. So shoot, why not? You're not allowed to drain Prime's favorite horse. Oh, you know what? Of all the things you type in the chat, that really? We can only afford I drain Jabby. I'm so glad you typed that. I'm so glad you typed that. That is awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I tried with the headstone. But speaking of which, speaking of death, a funny story about Dori upon her death. This is when I keep it on brand. Because, yes, this is a brand, and I'm keeping it on brand, you people. So, yeah, you people. All you people that hate and want me DED. But I live. It's a nice try. But she apparently, when she died, there was a question of legalities regarding the rights to her work. And what happened was she left a joke will. And when she jokingly stated in her quote-unquote will that the rights to her work would be transferred over to her boyfriend, Don Donahue, who was a publisher for Apex Novelties. And I think her mother was trying to claim ownership of her works, but in a court of law, it was ruled that will that she allegedly made as a joke was legally binding. So Don Donahue became the rightful owner. Well, I shouldn't say rightful, but the legal owner of her works. And a lot of the collections later on that publisher stuff was as a result of them working with Don Donahue and getting her works published. She died, so she didn't see her. She died, so she didn't have to see a stream about her. That may be true, Jabby. That may be true. Maybe I drained her retroactively, just like I drained you proactively. So I did that. I drained in all aspects of the universe, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Dori Seda looks like Natasha Leggero on meth. She may have been on meth. She was into all kinds of drugs, so she may have been on meth. So. Oh yeah, sorry, just drinking my coffee. What a delicious cup of coffee I had. But yeah, I will have a boring life. I will probably live to be 80, having donated most of my wealth to taxes because the government, fuck you, that's why. But I won't be partying or do any kinds of drugs or anything like that because I just won't. I for some reason I won't. Like you would think, well, shit, I went through. I would have probably did a Dori Seda and just drank myself and partied myself to an early grave, which I know a lot of you would like. Some of you would like for me to have an early grave because you can claim victory and some of you can get out of your little band zone. But no, I'm cursed to live a long life and to torment you people because that's what you didn't want, so that's what you're getting. So, Alas, man, do you want to share some coffee with the class? Now, Colin, let me ask you a question. In what school does the teacher share coffee with her class? No, the student buys her a coffee or gives her an apple. Then they sit down and take the history lesson, and she consumes that while she's teaching a group of malcontents. Malcontents. So it doesn't work that way. KS says it's coffee. It's 9 p.m. You'll be up all night making pee-pee. Well, you know what? Coffee's the organic Lasix. It's the organic what is that term? I'm forgetting words. Diuretic. There you go. Coffee's an organic diuretic, and I'm all for it. It's a reminder that my junk is fully functioning. Well, one of the reminders. But I sure as heck don't want to live a life where I'm having to rely on an external appliance to get me to flush out the poison in my system. So I'm thankful for that. So yeah, you must be glad that when I have my coffee and I gotta make that trip to the bathroom, all is right in the world. KSS, all is right in the world. Helmet says, here lies a Lasmat, hard R D word man, loving father, lousy streamer, peanut head. Screw you too. Maybe that's why you're not here, because you've decided you're going to join the harassers against me because I guess you're having a night tonight. Or I guess where you're at, you're having a daytime, a morning, an afternoon. Probably a morning. Maybe you got off on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. You tell me, Helmet. You tell me. Mood of hell. That's right. I'm calling you mood of hell. Mood of hell. Can't wait. Make pee-pee before bed so you don't make pee-pee in the bed again. I've been out of that phase. I have been out of that phase. I don't know why people think. I don't know why you think this is funny, man. The core. There's nothing funny about this. I'm very serious. I'm a respected learner, and I'm a respected person in this space. You need to take me seriously and stop laughing because it's not good for our community. We're unified here. We're actually pushing a new thing here. This is new. This is, wait. What did you type in my comment section, Jabby? Wait, hold on one second. I gotta share this for a second. Wait. Jabby just wrote in the comment section of my latest video. He says, "Do you like grapes?" What the hell does that mean, Jabby? What does that mean? That has nothing to do with the conversation in the video that I posted about Godzilla Color Special #1 and Spawn #1, proving that good comics and good art doesn't take years to make. And that's what you got out of it, that I like grapes? Really, Colin? Really? I mean, Jabby? Colin, you're fine. Jabby? Really, Jabby? Really? I'm taking a sip of my coffee. Hold on. Okay. We are an hour and 15 minutes into the stream. Shout out to those of you that are watching on Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble, hail. Let me check Rumble for a second. Let me see how things are on Rumble. In case there's people in the chat typing there. Let me see. According to my Rumble, there is 7 people watching. Interesting. Okay. That's actually pretty dope. Let me see here. Okay. Well, nobody in the chat in Rumble side. So shout out to those of you that are watching in Rumble, shout outs. Let me check my BitChute. Hail to those of you on BitChute that are watching. Shout out to those there. Let's see. I would keep it open, but I think too many of these apps open is going to slow my computer down when I stream. So that's why I don't keep it open while I stream. Let's see. Yeah, we got a couple people watching on BitChute. So shout out to those of you on BitChute that are watching. Now, I understand that UK, BitChute is unfortunately out of service there because of the laws that were passed, or the online safety laws, I think is what it is. So, but yes, I don't see anybody in the chat on BitChute. So, but shout out to those of you who are watching regardless. You guys are the VIP. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Go back to the chat. Well, Matt Panda makes a good point. He says, you get to a certain age and your 9-to-5 job drains all the energy you need to work on comics after work. Then you drink coffee to work on comics after work. Then you can't get to sleep. That is more or less truthful. Yes. It's funny because I have a drive. I have a drive to make my comics, regardless. You know, like my my day job, which is an important job, by the way. It's actually a very socially important job. I do help people, so I take pride in that. I take pride in that. Outside of the insanity of the comic sphere, I am able to help people in real life, so I'm good with that. But I am inspired during the day to make comics in the evening because the cares of the day just motivates me to escape and be artistic and be inspired to be creative. So there's a nice little balance or a nice little marriage between both worlds. I do my best not to mix both worlds, and I tend to keep it that way. It's part of why I don't have a LinkedIn page. I've had people tell me to make a LinkedIn page. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't want to make a LinkedIn page. I don't tell them why, but the reason why is because you got people in the space, especially in CG, that will dox you and harass your coworkers and your bosses. So now I won't do that. And now that we know that people like Ethan will and John Miller will resort to doxing, I'm definitely not going to put that information out publicly. So I'm good. I'm good. I am good. So let's see here. Scroll down to the chat. Shout out to the people watching. I'm almost done. You guys in the comment section typing hatred. Your hatred is not going to be immortalized. I will not immortalize your hatred. Don't make me call pop. You're a jerk for that, Jabby. You're a jerk. I don't treat my dogs that way. But then again, you are in the ban zone with Carol Colors and Gee. So it makes sense that you would say something horrific like that. Don't laugh, KSS. That's not funny. Manicore, that's not funny. Carol, stop it. I don't allow that in my chat. That's not funny. My therapy dogs will not be subjected to violence. I will ban you faster into the netherworld, Jabby. I will ban you faster than you can type that. 100%. Don't call my dog Siegfried and Roy Helmut. Mood of hell. Don't call them that. Mazapan says LinkedIn is a joke now. I had to get back on after several years of off because I might need a new job soon. And LinkedIn has turned into another social media site. Current era blows. Yeah, it is a social media site, and there's a consensus that it's actually some kind of like CIA operation or something like that to self dox. Like you self dox your place of business, and you put it's almost like putting your home address out there. And I understand why people do it is for networking, but still, it's like you put your stuff out like that, and then you go online and you do what you do online, and then people don't agree with your criticism or don't agree with your takes. They'll call your job and say, "Hey, so and so said this and that," and then you get that call from your boss, like, "Hey, do you want to talk about what happened?" And then it's like you have to now you got to mix both worlds. You got to mix the online artistic world with the professional real life world, and it's like that's really stupid. And unfortunately, you gotta be proactive and just like put the anchor down or put the dam down so that the flood of doxing and threats don't interfere with your private life or your day job or whatever. So I have to protect myself by not putting a LinkedIn page, despite what a lot of my peers say I should do. I don't, and I'm gonna try to keep it that way. So I'm not highlighting that, Jabby. I'm not highlighting that. I have Andrew in the chat typing some dictionary definition or something like what are you people talking about? Like, what does any of this have to do with anything? Let's see here. Yeah, that's why one of the reasons why I won't do it is because we actually have doxers in CG that will weaponize LinkedIn, and then they'll send you messages, harass you, and then they'll get your employer involved. Like, no, I'm keeping the CG doxers away from that part of my life. So, okay, some of y'all in the chat are on fire. Okay. LinkedIn is a popular site to find jobs, actually. Well, if you're in the network, yeah, like you have to be in the network because a lot of it is networking on LinkedIn. There's a little bit of nepotism there. You know, you can't just be some Joe Blow that decides, oh, I'm a cashier at Wallace. I'm gonna go and make a LinkedIn page, and then I'll get a big opportunity. I don't think it works that way. A lot of it is nepotism, which there was a lot of in the comic space, in the indie comic space, which it's a thing in any kind of career, in any kind of field of work. Advancement is all nepotism. And there is something very important about networking face to face with actual people outside of the internet, going to these functions and getting to know and meet people. And, you know, you become influential in their lives, or you become something very memorable to them that they remember you in case an opportunity comes up. That's how I plan on doing it. So I'm okay with not doing LinkedIn. I'm going to just keep it that way. Matt's fantasy. Yeah, last night. It's best to just pretend it's the 90s and stay away from social media as best as you can. I mess with YouTube, but Instagram and Boomer Book, I stay away from those days. It's a scam. Boom. I guess me Facebook. I only have a Facebook page because it's like a semi-memorial to my late spouse and my late wife. Although now my current Lady Shadow Band is becoming a fixture in my Facebook now, so there's that. But I don't really post much else there. Instagram is more networking for the comic stuff. Although I don't touch anything CG related on my Instagram. I keep that out of it. I just mostly stick with the Road Warrior Drake stuff, my indie stuff, and then, you know, I'll comment on other people's stuff, and it's my own little separate world there. And of course, X is a mess, as we know that. And YouTube is an outlet for videos and a way to kind of bring a comic crowd that is looking to buy independent comics. And, you know, in order for me to do that, I got to feed them that. And how to feed them that is a key, because you can't just make any kind of video about comics and expect people to watch. I'll get bored as shit, unfortunately. But I find that comics that videos that deal with like history, entertainment history, or comics history tend to do okay. So I'm gonna try to keep doing that, and we'll see how that goes and how far I go with that. So. Well, I don't know if you knew this, Colin, but it's no longer called Twitter. It's called X. There's no bird. It's just one big X. So if you're a Malcolm X fan, it's Twitter. The X is for you. X is for you. Henry Throne. Welcome, Henry. He says, hey, I'm listening on my drive home from the Y. Nice. Imric, separate until Prime invades it with his horse value. What? I don't know what that means. Imric, why do you type such inconsequential non sequiturs that make no sense in any kind of fathom of English? Why? And don't tell me because you're Canadian, because even that won't fly. I've given up you being Canadian as an excuse. I've given up on that. So 9:25. I'll probably go for another 5 minutes, and then we'll call it a stream on this quiet. And it was quiet for me. I spent most of the day working. First my day job, and then editing the video and working on some other videos. Michael Deach says Matt has some comics history videos that do great. Says Michael Deach. Hell, Matt. So yeah, that I'm delving into a little bit of that, like doing like historical stuff mixed in with the current stuff to kind of like bring a lot of relevancy, contrast, perspective, you know, with a little bit of drama. So it all becomes a very entertaining experience. But like I said, I'm gonna try to go as far as I can with that, and then we'll see what happens from there. And then the goal will be to eventually branch out without deviating from my original mission statement. So, but 23 people are now watching. Shout out to the 23 on YouTube that are watching. Hell, welcome to the stream. Although we're gonna be ending it soon, and I guess we'll do a raid. Although only 5 of you will probably do the raid, so that would be embarrassing. So no raid. I'm not gonna encourage a raid, but if you haven't had a chance, go check out Lord Raptor's stream last night. It was a banger. It was a doozy. So you want to check it out. I'm not reading your comments, KSS. You can miss me with that. I am not reading your comments. How dare you? And people are laughing at me for no reason, laughing at me. Asman says, Asman, do you already know who you're going to view next week, or is that still to be determined? That's going to be determined. Believe it or not, like my time is like totally booked creatively, so I dedicate time for my Thursday streams on Thursday. I give myself a few hours, pick my person, gather the material, write any notes, and then boom, the stream happens. Aha! 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 Gee! Aha! That's why you're banned. Aha! Aha! Good on you. Interview you, and I promise to do less D-word memes. That sounds like a blackmail, Cal. Are you blackmailing me? I think you're guys. Does that sound like a blackmail to you? I think Colin's blackmailing me. He's totally blackmailing me. He's totally blackmailing me.
You want to show pictures of my dogs?
So,
People are in.
anyway, I think I'll call it a stream. I think we've managed to stretch as far as I can, and an hour and a half is a decent length. So I am proud of my accomplishments tonight. I may or may not be on anyone's stream the next few days, or may not. I may stream on Saturday with my usual boring community draw stream, because apparently those streams actually do well. They do well. People like draw streams still, but they like commentary while we do draw streams. Wait, I think Sark asked a very important question. Wait, what happens with that Jacques guy who liked to get I don't know who he's talking about. Why are you typing that? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Wait, do we have a Zeitgeist in the chat? Did I miss Zeitgeist? Oh yeah, here he is. Anyone's having studio issues. Oh, that sounds weird. I don't know how I feel about that. That sounds like an attack on my spirit. Oh, I see. Aha! 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 Oh shit. Oh fuck. God damn it. Oh.